my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. We've got a lot of big news to talk about in this video, the Mandoverse, Skeleton Crew, but we begin with The Acolyte. The writer of episodes 4 and 5 has admitted the next episode on Tuesday night, or Wednesday morning if you're here in the UK, was a continuation of the 4th. She said this: "We wrote this one and next week's together, and they kind of had a total ballpark limit for both. For reasons, which she doesn't get into because she can't reveal anything, next week's episode had to be the longer one. So that is why episode 4 day gave us a massive cliffhanger. It continues next week. And the next episode is the one which Leslye Headland says is her favourite of all 8. So we're finally going to see the Jedi fight Smiler Ren, the helmeted guy. And I say guy, not because I'm 99% sure it's Chimera, but because Leslye Headland now admits it is a guy. In a brand new interview with Entertainment Weekly, the Acolyte showrunner spilled the beans on the 4th episode's ending and said this: "I find him to be very scary. I think because this show is about the bad guys, he's incredibly powerful, menacing, all of those things. I'm still pretty bummed out at the fact we didn't get to see Kel Narka in action in the present day, but we know there's more flashbacks, and while I assumed they were going to be in episode 5, I think those are going to be saved for 6. The massive truth Sol needs to unveil to Osha is going to have to wait, and I do think that's going to be the big moment Lee Jung-jae spoke about when he said, as a fan you're going to question, is Sol really a good guy? His character and what he's going to reveal about what took place on Brendok is the pinnacle of Leslye Headland's words, that this show is portraying the Jedi not as the good, but revealing their darkest secrets and sins. And Leslye Headland promises this: it's just the beginning of the action in the show. She admits now we're heading into the big stuff in the second half. She says, you just have to keep watching the show, and I think the audience will continue to be excited by where we end each episode. 3 days to go." In other Acolyte news, Amanda Stenberg responds to fan backlash with a new music video. The discourse and fan division of this show has been insane. I think it's probably the worst we've had. The stuff we were talking about during the Kenobi show was nothing compared to this. And I have a theory this is why we're seeing so many interviews with Dave Filoni and Rosario Dawson come out, almost Lucasfilm's way of distracting from everything that's going on. And so now, my dear friends, Bryce Dallas Howard, who I think deserves to direct a Star Wars movie or trilogy, has spoken about her future with the franchise, but also working on Skeleton Crew. We're all kind of focused on The Acolyte, but later this year, Skeleton Crew drops, and she's got a bit of a tease, as well as reiterating her wishes and desires of some other things she wants to do in the galaxy far, far away. Known for directing work on The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett, Howard is now set to direct an episode of Skeleton Crew. This was something that Katie Sackhoff revealed but is now confirmed. The series, created by John Watts and Chris Ford, is 100% now confirmed to premiere later this year, so there is no doubt that is going to be a holiday release in 2024. So we do have some Christmas Star Wars fun to look forward to, and she sort of gave us an indication of the kinds of things we can expect. Here's what she said: "What I'll say is I'm doing an episode of Skeleton Crew, which I'm super excited about." And she's not afraid to say she wishes she could go her own direction with Star Wars, which is definitely something they should grant her. Because in the context of Mando, she's directed some good episodes, she's directed some episodes which of course she didn't write, and were less well received, but overall fans have loved her work. And she says, quote, "I characterize myself in a professional sense as being very happy to go and play in someone else's sandbox, to be part of a team and be kind of a vessel for someone else's vision, and to execute their vision with great enthusiasm as if it was my own. But I also love to work within a team, but be the team captain. I enjoy that. I have strength in that area. I love filmmaking, I love directing, and so I would absolutely love to direct a Star Wars film." And before we carry on with some of her comments, there's already a massive opening and opportunity if Lucasfilm so wish to pursue it. Jon Favreau has The Mandalorian and Grogu, the first Mando movie. Dave Filoni has one that's going to be set a few years later. Well, if they want to make a Mando trilogy for the big screen, why not let Bryce Dallas Howard direct the middle installment, for example, the Dark Force Rising equivalent, or the ending? I can see her being fantastic for a middle installment of a Disney Star Wars canon, I don't want to say adaptation of Heir to the Empire, but an equivalent. because the characters we're dealing with are very different, and the reason I have such conviction she could do a great job is because she says she understands the courage it takes to be a creative in the Star Wars galaxy. And I think she would be daring. I feel like as a long-term fan, and with her experience, the background she has, and if she so wishes, she could act in it. Maybe that's just my Jurassic World fangirl coming out. And here's an important bit. If I was ever to be brought the opportunity, I would absolutely jump at it. But I'm incredibly proud and impressed with everyone who's currently doing what they're doing in the Star Wars universe. I don't know if every fan would agree with the last bit that the current creatives are doing the best job, but I think Bryce is definitely suited for the role. Would Lucasfilm give her that opportunity? Some are skeptical, saying they don't know a good thing when they see it. But her directorial work in Mando and Boba Fett certainly speaks for itself. And if she were to collaborate with John and Dave with the story, with the writing, I think we could be in for something special. I think she at least deserves the opportunity to try it. And this is not the first time she's brought this up. So returning to Skeleton Crew, we do have some information on the creative side of things. This is the second time we've heard of this. There was some incredible talent and legendary people working on Skeleton Crew. And so Bryce Dallas Howard says, yes, all of them. It's very exciting because the infrastructure Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have built, Jon Favreau in particular because he had a relationship with John Watts through Spider-Man. This is a massive reveal. Jon Favreau was there every single day on set. She says, I didn't expect that. He cared. I didn't expect Jon Favreau to be there every day, not on his own set. Because usually Jon Favreau comes in for some big decisions, for some big moments, but he doesn't come in every day. And just to sort of piece some information together, we did hear about set issues and production problems on Skeleton Crew. Is that the reason they had to bring Jon Favreau in to kind of settle things, to bring a cohesiveness to it? And Bryce confirms there is a glue that ties Skeleton Crew to the Ahsoka show, Mando, and Boba Fett. That is wonderful, she says. And because of that, it's not the wheel every single time. So there's moments where the shows almost blend, and they brought in Phil Tippett from the beginning, so it seems like she's implying we're in for one of the most creative Mandalorian era shows to date. And Phil Tippett worked with Bryce on her episode of Boba Fett. So do you think Bryce Dallas Howard should be directing her own Star Wars movie or show? Would you like to see it? And are you looking forward to Skeleton Crew this winter? In other Mandoverse updates, Ahsoka's Rosario Dawson and Hayden Christensen are really happy that fans are going through a prequels renaissance, that fans are now loving the prequels more than they did back in the 2000s. They really seem to be teasing a major connection between Ahsoka and Anakin's Force Ghost in Dave Filoni's second season. They all say we don't know the script, we don't know the story, but Dave has had it written for a long time. He's even got the opening shot of his movie in mind. So he's done some long-term planning, and I get the impression Rosario Dawson and Hayden know this. As Dawson suggests, she and Christensen are aware of the fact Star Wars fans wanted to see a live-action Ahsoka alongside Anakin, which inspired the Clone Wars flashbacks and the scene in the World Between Worlds, and I think we can expect more of it when Ahsoka returns. Christensen said this, "My experience with Star Wars has always been positive. The critics certainly took their aim at those films during the prequel days, but I always felt the support from fans. So it's been really nice to get to come back now and be part of this franchise, and continue with the character and also enjoy the reception that those films have now received." And Dawson added, "I like to say Hayden's got the high ground now. They both seem so grateful, they seem to be having a lot of fun with Star Wars, and they say it's such a unique experience. It's such a special world to be a part of. So they say they relish every moment,